Yeah. Oh, ba-dum. What's this? What is it? NANI? Yeah! Hey everybody, it is Tom, and welcome to another video. Today we are going to do a shorter Heartstopper comics reaction because, as many of you know, there's kind of a lot going on for me right now, including finding a new job, preparing to move into a new apartment, and also having top surgery on Tuesday. So with all of that happening and all the preparations, everything that's going on, I unfortunately don't have a ton of time to make videos, but I wanted to at least give you something before I head into the unknown realm of recovering from surgery. So here's a video. So we're just going to do a little bit of Heartstopper comics. We're not going to do as long of a video as we usually do. That is my plan. I'm going to try to stick to it, because usually when I get into the comics, I'm like, one more, and I just want to keep going. But so let's get right to it. Let's get right to it. Also, my hair, I need a haircut. It's getting like poofy and weird again, but that's okay. Alright, so let's make me small again. I don't know what this voice is. Kind of Swedish, but not really. So last time, in the Heartstopper comics, the gang was in Paris, and a momentous thing occurred wherein, during a game of Truth or Dare, at Tara's birthday party, Mr. Nicholas Nelson finally came out, both as bisexual and as Charlie's boyfriend. Yay! Go Nick! Yeah. Oh, ba-dum. What's this? What is it? NANI? Yes! Okay. So I had an interview for a job that I really want on Monday, and I've gotten an alert just now. Oh no. They want me to go do an assessment on site. But I'm having surgery on Tuesday. Oh my. Oh dear. Okay. All right. Hold on. I'm going to pause for a sec. Okay, I'm back. Oh. I put my microphone down. So here's the scoop. So yeah, the job that I had a phone interview for a few days ago wants to move me forward in the interview process, which is awesome. I really this job sounds perfect. But they want me to do an in-person interview in a suburb of Chicago soon. And surgery is happening on Tuesday, so I told them, I'm free on Friday, and I could possibly make Monday work, so I really hope that they are okay with that, and that I can then go in and do a good job and get the job, because if I could get this job, it would be a game changer, absolute 100% game changer for me financially and quality of life wise and everything. So if you have anything that you can cross, please do so. But no, don't be uncomfortable. If you need to use your Anyway, so back to Heartstopper comics. So Nick came out as bi and as Charlie's boyfriend, and people asked lots of invasive questions and asked if they should keep it a secret, and Nick and Charlie were like, nah, it's okay, it's cool. And then Darcy felt really ill because she drank too much vodka, and she went into Mr. Farouk and Mr. Ajayi's room and threw up all over one of the beds. And Mr. Farouk exiled everyone. And the plan is for everyone to have a sleepover in Tara, Elle, Darcy, and Sahar's room. But Nick and Charlie have decided to go back to their own room instead, because Charlie's tired and Nick needs lots of bed space. So now we move on to the next segment. Okay, so we see Nick and Charlie walking down the hall, and Charlie looks over at Nick looks over at Charlie. There's a bit of blushing, and Charlie nudges Nick, and Nick wraps his arms around Charlie, and then tackles him and throws him over his shoulder while Charlie is screaming, "Nick!" And then Nick staggers down the hallway with Charlie slung behind his back while Charlie is yelling, ah! And then it turns into a lovely piggyback ride, and there's a heart. So, aw. So they're in the room. They shut the door. We've got their socked feet facing each other, and then some closeness. And Charlie says, "You came out to an entire room of people." And Nick says, "Yeah, I guess I did." And Charlie says, "You feeling okay about that?" Nick says, "I think so." "You sure?" And Nick asks, "Do you think it'll get passed around? Like, do you think everyone will know when we're back at school in September?" And there's a ... from Charlie while Nick is kind of clutching the sweatshirt. And then Charlie leans in and kisses him on the cheek and says, "Yeah, probably." And Nick says, "I think I'm okay with that. Nervous, yeah, but I'm okay." Aw, Nick leans his head on Charlie's shoulder with his hand wrapped around his head and says, "Are you feeling okay about it? About us being out?" And Charlie kind of turns away and is holding Nick's hand and says, I was scared. I was scared about you having to deal with homophobic stuff." And he's pulling the sweatshirt up over his head. "And I guess I was scared about having that much attention on me again." And poof, here's Charlie. Charlie emerges from the sweatshirt. "But now..." And Nick's just smiling, leaning against the wall with his arms folded, blushing. And Charlie hides his face in the sweatshirt and says, "Okay, maybe I'm still a bit scared, but..." Nick says, "But we'll be okay?" And kind of gently pulls the sweatshirt away from Charlie's face. And then they lean their heads together and laugh. Ha 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 ha. That's what laughter sounds like. And Charlie says, "Yeah," with a little heart, while Nick hugs him and he hugs Nick, and it's a beautiful moment. So then Nick and Charlie looking at the two beds. And then Charlie looks back at Nick with a little smile and says, "Since the room is ours tonight," and then he flops onto the bed and smiles, "I could sleep in this bed with you? Since we wanted to on Monday, but then Tao was being Tao, and yeah, haha." And Nick is a little bit startled and has some blushing going on. And Charlie says, I mean, we don't have to..." And Nick looks all blushy. "Well..." And he says, "Well, you're gonna have to move over because that's my side." And Charlie, "You're already claiming a side?" Nick leans over him and says, "Yeah, I always sleep on this side." And Charlie says, "Well, I got here first." And Nick says, "Okay," and just slumps onto Charlie with his full body weight. And Charlie's like, "Ah, you're crushing me." And Nick says, "It's my side." Ah, and Charlie's pushing Nick over. We end up with Nick lying on his back and Charlie kneeling on top of him saying, "What if I want this side?" Nick looks very flustered. And then he sits up and says, "Well then, I guess we'll just have to..." And he grabs a pillow and just whomps Charlie with it. "Fight!" And Charlie lying dazed under the pillow. So that's how we're playing it, huh? And then, haha! And he comes back whapping Nick with a pillow. And we have, "Ah, no!" And we're just rolling around and hitting each other with pillows. As one does when one is with one's beloved in bed. Charlie grabs the collar of Nick's shirt and says, "Do I win?" And they're very close, and then Nick kisses him, or actually they kiss each other, and they're kissing and they're kissing. Oh, they're kissing a lot of kissing is happening, and Charlie brushes the hair back from Nick's forehead, and then, oh, okay, and then says payback and starts kissing Nick's neck, a la the infamous love bite that occurred, and Nick is kind of frazzled, but enjoying it, and Charlie says, "Is this okay?" And Nick's like, yes. And he looks very, yeah. And Charlie says, "That didn't sound very sure." And Nick says, sorry, could we just, I like it, and Charlie says, "It's okay." And Nick, very, very blushy, says, I don't think I'm ready to, do anything more than kissing yet." And behind Charlie, we have more than kissing, more than kissing, more than kissing. And Charlie says, "More than kissing?" No, me neither. I wasn't thinking we would do that right now." And they both look at each other with massive blushes, and Nick says, "Oh." And Charlie flops down onto the bed, and Nick flops down beside him, And they're quiet for a bit, and then they look at each other and both say, "I do want to." Charlie says, "I mean, eventually." And Nick says, "Yeah, same. I'm just not ready yet." And Charlie says, "No, me neither." And Charlie says, "And I'd only want to if you wanted to as well. If you didn't ever want to, then I wouldn't either." And Charlie, covering his face, "I'm interrupting our makeout time by talking about deep stuff." And Nick says, "No, I started it." And Charlie says, "I'm so embarrassing." I think we both are, to be honest. And the famous line, "Why are we like this?"
So why am I like this? Why am I like this? Why am I like this? Why am I?
And Nick says, "No idea." And they're both laughing, and then a big hug. Hugging. And Charlie says, "Kissing's still good though, right?" And they look at each other, and they kiss, with their legs intertwined, and they're kissing, and that's where that chapter ends. Obviously a very good model for behavior when it comes to figuring out how far you want to go with a partner, a romantic partner, in this kind of situation where they're both just very open and honest about how they're feeling. And Charlie is even like, if you never want to, that's also okay. It needs to be a mutual thing. So A++ for both of these boys for being far more mature than anyone I've ever been with. So, we have Tara and Darcy is sniffling. "Am I going to get in trouble, sir?" And Mr. Farouk ... and then sighs. "Well, you can't get in trouble for having food poisoning, can you?" And Darcy and Tara very surprised, and Mr. Farouk turns around, "Get a good night's sleep, girls." And then he goes away while they are smiling. So Mr. Farouk, even though he knew very obviously that Darcy had been drinking, and that is exactly what he told her not to do, told all of them not to do, he's still going to be nice and not make her get in trouble for it. But, oh, Darcy. So Darcy's still crying, and Tara wipes her face and says, "Hey, what's wrong? Do you need to be sick again?" And Darcy says, "I'm sorry for ruining your birthday." Tara says, "Hey, it's not ruined. I'm the worst girlfriend ever." And Tara says, "Shh, I still love you." And Darcy says, "Even when I smell of sick?" And Tara says, "Even then," and then kisses her and says, "Ew." And Darcy says, "Shut up." And then we have giggle, and we have Tao and Elle lying very close to each other, sharing a blanket. And Tao says, "My stomach hurts." And Elle says, "Stop it, I can't stop laughing when you're laughing." And they look at each other with the ... and they both burst out laughing again. And Tao says, "What were we even laughing about?" And Elle says, "I can't remember," giggle. And then Sahar is asleep, reading Radio Silence. Good reading choice, Sahar. Very good book. And we have Aled. Sahar is reading the book that Aled appears in. And meanwhile, Aled is just sitting outside, looking at the stars, listening to music. And I really like this. I really like how we see just Aled here looking peaceful. And a plug for his book, which is a good book. Alright, so now it's time for the teachers. Mr. Farouk is giving Mr. Ajayi a glass of wine, perhaps, saying, "Here." Mr. Ajayi says, "Thanks." And they're sitting there on the bed together, sipping their wine. And Mr. Ajayi says, "Well, I suppose I should head down to reception and ask for some fresh sheets." And Mr. Farouk looks over at him and says, "I mean, you could just share my bed." And Mr. Ajayi looks very surprised and looks over at him, and Mr. Farouk's like, He says, "No, sorry, stupid idea. I'll go and get some sheets," as he's walking away. But Mr. Ajayi catches his wrist and takes his hand. Mr. Farouk turns around, and Mr. Ajayi says, "I don't think that's a stupid idea." And Mr. Farouk looks back at him and looks down and says, "Haha." And then Mr. Ajayi kind of puts his hand on Mr. Farouk's face, and they kiss. At last. And we see Mr. Ajayi leading him back to bed as we are backing away. And then the balcony doors shut and the curtains are drawn. And it fades to night. Well, it was already night, but yeah, I've said before I'm really looking forward to the teacher romance in the show. And like, I'm not sure how much time they're going to give to it because, as we've said before, the focus is on the teens, but I'm glad that it will be there. Presumably, it better be. Okay, so we have Nick and Charlie lying in bed together saying, I want to stay up all night. Same. Whisper, whisper, whisper. Aw, so they're lying all curled up together, sharing the same blanket, sharing the same pillow. And they fall asleep together. We see them kind of moving throughout the night. Nick with his head on Charlie's shoulder. And then, oh, it's the next day, Paris, day 7. And everyone is tired. So Mr. Ajayi is yawning. Mr. Farouk saying, come on to the bus. We have a train to catch. And everyone getting onto the bus. We have Nick and Tao is like dead to the world in his seat next to Aled. And Nick and Charlie both look very alert and awake. And we have some random person coming up to them being like, Nick and Charlie. And Charlie says, oh, hi, Malik. And the person says, is it true you're dating? And Nick says, yeah, we are. Ah, that's so cool. And Charlie is like, wow, does this mean I'm a cool kid now? And Nick looks back at him, nah, you'll always be a nerd. And Charlie says, shut up. I can't believe all of this happened because you gave me a love bite. And Nick says, I'm still sorry about that. And Charlie says, it's fine. At least we don't have to make some cringy Facebook announcement. So Charlie leans his head on Nick's shoulder. And Nick is like, you don't want to change our relationship status on Facebook? Wow, guess I've been internet dumped. And Charlie says, Nick, guess we're going to have to split up since we'll never be Facebook official. Oh my god, stop. You're not even going to put my initials in your Insta bio next to a heart emoji? And Charlie says, absolutely not. And they're headed back to England. Okay, and we'll stop there, even though it feels like we've looked at practically nothing. Yeah, not a ton of plot in this section, but a lot of nice character stuff. We have Nick and Charlie talking about the physical side of their relationship and what they'll feel comfortable with. We have the different couples sharing some sweet moments. We have Tara and Darcy in the hallway. Darcy actually feeling remorse about something she's done. And Tao and Elle giggling and just having a great time together, and Mr. Ajayi and Mr. Farouk finally taking a step forward in their relationship, and Aled sitting peacefully on the balcony. Tag yourself, I am Aled in this scenario. There's worse things to be than Aled sitting peacefully on a Parisian balcony. So, all right, well, that's it for now. As I said, I'm not sure when I'll be able to have the next video, but I hope that it will be a thing that I can do at some point, and hopefully the next time you see me, things will be good in many ways, but we'll see. I do have some more people to thank for the GoFundMe fundraiser, which is for my top surgery and also for like related costs and just in general surviving and stuff like that. But yes, so since last time, we had Anonymous, $100, another Anonymous, $100, Jonathan Bach, $25, Stephen D. Teeter, $100, and Anonymous, $80. So thank you so much. I might have just read those in the opposite order, but that's okay. Probably it's fine. Well, thank you so much, and thank you as always for your amazing support. And speaking of support, thank you so much to our patrons who are absolutely amazing and so wonderful. And a shout out to our Nick Nelson members, Kelly Walker, Paul Z, and Kent Smither. That's right? Let me double check. I want to make sure that I am getting the names correct. Yes. All right, well, have a great whatever part of day. Have a great whatever time of day it may happen to be. And I will see you next time. So, yes. All right. Bye.
Say you're coming around. I need you lately. Everything's been